All right. Hey, welcome back to the Go for CEO channel. And what a great opportunity. Again, we have a welcome back interview. This lady was powerful in her first interview. She shared some incredible, just breakthrough, no pun intended, opportunities of just the mindset, how she gets to her clients, how she consults in the nonprofit space. And I'm excited to give you the update of what breaking through to consulting is really doing in Clara Carrier and my fellow Colombian, roots with her and sharing kind of those perspectives and stuff. So I haven't talked to her in a little while, but excited to have her back on the Go for CEO channel. How are you, Clara?
Oh, well, John, thank you so much. I'm super excited to be here. It's almost like, we never let go of, our updates and our things that were happening. Obviously, COVID was kind of like in the middle of that space from like the first interview to this one. So there's a lot of like new realities that we're all facing, but I'm very grateful and excited to be here with you all today. So thank you.
Awesome, awesome. Well, excited to have you on. So let's go through, these welcome back interviews. It's about just creating a tribe and creating a movement of people getting to know breaking through consulting, what Cloud Carrier is doing, and kind of just every 6 months updating them. So take us through, obviously last year, for all of us was a little rough in 2020 with COVID, but I know that you kept doing some great things. I saw the upgrades of your website. I heard some neat things about you personally. You're kind of increasing your education levels on certain things. So tell us a little about what's going on with you and your business.
Oh, great. Well, thank you, John. Yeah, it's definitely been a year of a lot of challenges in terms of business and maintaining myself, and still despite the challenges, how can I creatively support my clients and bring a level of respite and support that perhaps they haven't had in a long time. So it's been a good opportunity for me as well to really rethink what's possible in terms of who I am becoming. I think when you are forced to kind of like stay indoors, and a lot of like your social activities like networking sessions and things like that are very restricted or none, you're almost forced to look inward, right? So when there's nowhere else to turn around, you have no choice but to go inward. And I think that's what has been last year. 2020 was a journey of self-discovery and self-reflection, a lot of, emotional awareness as well. And it all started with what I call an adventure, a journey into my emotional intelligence through an organization called Right Foundation. And
Mm.
during that journey, I really discovered my desire, my yearning to learn and grow and develop. I felt that for the last 5 years since I founded Breaking Through Consulting, I was pouring myself out to my clients. I was putting everything that I had inside of me out there to support my clients' needs. So at one given point, I started thinking, well, if I leave it all out there, I'm going to be depleted for my own, satisfaction, for
Mm.
my own fulfillment. So the question about, what can I do to refill that bucket so that I can serve them better? How can I put my own needs first so I can serve them from a place of abundance, started kind of roaming around my mind. And one thing led to the other, and that's when I decided to enroll in a master's degree for transformational coaching and leadership through the Right Graduate University. So I'm in my third semester of going back into the academic setting, doing a lot of writing, being challenged in terms of, English not being my first language or my native language. How do I bring the academic setting and the footnotes and the concept description all into one place, together with my own satisfaction? So one of the beautiful things about this program is that it's about fulfilling my desires, fulfilling my yearnings. And it's combining really what's here with what's here. And how can I bring Clara to be a more integrated, person, whole person that has, not only the self-awareness, but also the ability to connect the mind and the soul and the heart, for her own fulfillment and also for the purpose of serving others. So it's been an incredible journey, ups and downs, times where I'm like, I got these, I deliver the papers, I have like awesome grades. And some other times I'm like, what am I doing here? Like, am I really cut for this thing, going back to school? And then obviously juggling all the other things that happen, in real life, 15-year-old kid, trying to fit in, trying to figure out who he is. And then becoming, an Uber driver instead of a mom that is needed. So how is that reshaping who I'm, becoming as a woman as well, now that my own kid is figuring out his own path? So it's a lot of like changes. But I think at the end of the day, that's what keeps me going and excited. And the nuances and the discovery is what keep me awake and alive and wanting to do more and, keep going.
Well, I love it. I mean, and it's so atypical to the name of your business, right? Breaking through consulting, right? So, and that's what you're doing. You saw some opportunities to maybe take a step back. So tell us a little bit about, how you're combining both the business, the education mastery and getting into your masters and kind of what to teach the community of Go for CEO, because we have a lot of entrepreneurs, we have some entrepreneurs, we have CEOs, founders, and I think they always wonder, like, gosh, look at this powerful woman. She's got her own business. She's in the nonprofit space. How is she juggling motherhood and all this stuff? And now you added a master's to really kind of go deep and within yourself. So tell us what's been happening with the business. Have you stayed with some of the clients? Have they dwindled off and now you're kind of re-energizing the marketing side? How are you going to approach that part of your side?
Yeah, it's a really good question. I'm very blessed in terms of my business, clients. Thankfully, they all have remained with their own strategic programs and needs, and because they're mission-driven organizations. So for many of them, their mission needs to keep running. I mean, there's still people that are at stakes. There's people that are in vulnerable communities that need access to healthcare. There's individuals that are struggling to make ends meet. So their missions need to keep running, because otherwise who's going to be there for the most vulnerable, right? So thankfully, that's the beautiful thing about the nonprofit sector, which is mission driven people really sometimes sacrifice a lot of their own self health and well-being to put the others needs first. So thankfully, from a project standpoint, I've been stable. I've been maintaining some of the clients that I've been working, and also the opportunity to bring a different perspective to the table in these time of challenges has been really refreshing to them. So some of the learnings that I have gotten for myself personally and professionally, like how do I intentionally engage with my clients when everybody is zoomed out? Like, what are the things that I can do to bring aliveness, to create a space for flow, where that person on the other end of my computer feels seen and feels held and feels understood? So there's a lot of things that I have learned for my personal well-being that I have been able to carry over, and if you will, kind of bring it as an added value to my own consulting. I have very specific services, core services, marketing, branding, communications, fundraising. And in all of that, the foundation is purpose, right? I don't partner with my clients just to do activities and to be in these like wheel, chasing a big golden goal. Everything has to tie back to the why, to the reason why the organization exists, the reason why, in terms of like personal coaching, the reason why that person wakes up every morning. So there's always that tie back to why that allows us to really take a step back and find out if what we're doing helps and moves the mission forward, helps and move that person forward. So a lot of those things that I have been learning in this master's degree, I've been able to bring to the table in terms of how I ensure that my client has a space where he or she can be seen as a human, and as a human with all the emotions, with all the roller coaster going up and down of all the things and challenges that we're experiencing, facing COVID. So I think it's, at the end of the day, being reminded about bringing that humanity back into the marketplace and into the nonprofit space as a way for me to contribute, to the other person, to the organization. And really, at the end of the day, is fulfilling my own desire to contribute and to give back. So it's beyond the monetary compensation of those core, services that I provide. How can I, be a support for that person so that at the end of that call, that Zoom, meeting, that agency panel group of people, at the end, everybody leaves with a little bit more hope than what they came in. And that's where I come alive. That's the gratification. That's right there. It's just priceless.
I mean, it sounds fantastic, and you're putting it into practice. You went through this right foundation. You kind of sharpened the axe, right? You got some things going. Now you're going for your master's to kind of add that layer and certification of this purpose-driven side of consulting and coaching. So really cool. I mean, look, the 501c3 space, a lot of people always kind of steer away from it because it's a non-for-profit, right? And in business world, that sounds scary because if you're not making a profit, how the heck are you in business? But a lot of people don't realize that a lot of these foundations get supported in the millions of dollars. They just need to make sure they don't end up with a profit, right? So they have to spend money, right? They have to have great consultants like you, and they have to make sure that they stay consistent so that their donors can stay alive and stay engaged and stuff. So that's pretty cool. So it's really neat to hear that over the last year or so, you really haven't dipped in business. You've kind of maintained and then added some other neat ways to really help your clients. And so tell us a little bit about, I guess, next steps. Like, we're tuning in with you. It's been about a little bit over a year or so since we first met with you. You had been about 4 or 5 years in business. You'd gathered some good clientele. What does it mean to you now to then add this new service of coaching? And tell us a little bit about what the next 6, 7, 8, 10 months is going to look like. And when we tune in with you again, where do you expect to be?
That's a great question, John. And it goes back to one of the things that I do with my clients, especially the individual clients that I'm now coaching, is vision, right? It's different than goals. Is the vision, right? Is that aspiration, something that I want to move towards, that is strong enough, meaningful enough, inspiring enough, that despite the difficulties can keep my eyes on that north, right? So in terms of my personal vision for my business is, it's growth, but growth doesn't mean, bigger. For me, growth means, maybe increasing some of the clients or increasing the projects with the current clients, but keeping the quality and the personal relationship at the core of what I do. It is not my purpose to become this huge agency and lose sight of what matters the most, which is people. People are the force. I mean, we see it nowadays, all the different people that have stepped up into, COVID relief efforts, and how we can make a big difference neighbor to neighbor. We don't have to have tons of millions of dollars to make a difference, right? And to be of support to other people. We can do a lot with what we have been given, with the gifts and talents that we currently have. So I think for me is growth. It's steady growth, with people at the core, people and purpose at the core of that growth. And I think one of the areas that I want to grow the most is coaching. I did coaching before, and I've done coaching for a couple of years, but I'm doing it now with the new methodology, which is about emergence. So it's not about me as a coach and a professional or a leader to have all the answers, to have everything figured out, perfect, pretty, and ready to go. It's about me coming alongside people and teams and facilitate their own emergence, facilitate their own aha moments where they're going to find out, okay, this is where I am and this is not working very well. So therefore, how can I move, from the inside out towards more empowering beliefs and better ways, more effective, efficient ways, to either time manage, or to lead a group of people, or to communicate more effectively. I mean, we all have areas of growth, right? Because we're not perfect, nor should we. So how can I come along people and then facilitate that emergence? So it's very gratifying because it's putting the empowerment on the other person, and is giving the other person almost the space where ideation, where possibilities can happen naturally. And they have a person that is, relating to a lot of the things that they're going through, because we're all humans and there's a lot of the challenges that unite us because we feel the same feelings, right? We go through joy, happiness, sadness, anger, fear, and that's universal. We all feel that. So therefore, I can relate to that person, and from a space of empathy and truth and authenticity, that person is going to feel, supported to explore new possibilities, to even venture into, making mistakes and taking risks and seeing what's possible. So how do I come alongside people where they can see a problem into a possibility? And that's life-giving. So that's a very particular area in my services that I want to expand, and that I want to, bring, a sense of hope, and, even to a point, restoration. So people don't see themselves for what they lack, but for what they already have, and how can they become more in tune with their visions for fulfillment and satisfaction. Listen, John, we live this life right here, right now, only once. So, when you were saying before about, people are a little hesitant to go into the nonprofit sector because of the financial component of it, it could be true, right? But at the end of the day, at the end, of my life, when I'm on a bedside, I want to know that I did what satisfied me, what gave me a reason to feel, complete. And, for many
Mm.
people, it is making a lot of money, which is, I respect that. But I just tie it all back to purpose. Why? The why really can shape you in unimaginable ways. And at the end, you're responsible for that. We all individually are responsible for our own satisfaction and fulfillment. So I'm excited to see what's going to come from that desire and from that yearning to make a difference in that way.
Well, I think if somebody replays the last 4 minutes right there, they'll feel I feel like elevated or levitated. Sorry, levitated, just because of the energy. It's obvious, very obvious that you have that natural knack to kind of pull this emergence, pull this purpose out of people. So, which is probably one of the things that attracted me to kind of reconnect with you and initially, have you on the Go for CEO channel and you were number one viewed for a reason, right? So for many years, for a year or so, and so exciting, so exciting. So really, it seems like you've gotten to a point where you decided to add this service, you decided to work on yourself, you've decided to keep on scaling, but at the pace that you want to scale, which is nice, right? When you look at business, you're right. It could be that an entrepreneur gets to 100,000 or 300,000 or $1 million or whatever, but then they may not still be fulfilled. So it's really interesting to be in a space where you've kind of tweaked and pivoted, but still serving your clients. So are you thinking to then creatively, I guess, market this particular service within your clientele, or are you going to create other marketing strategies to expose this new service to the community?
That's a good question, John. And I don't know that I have a definitive answer. I definitely think it's a discovery process in itself. One of the things that I wanted to do, because I wanted to invest in my own marketing and my own brand, because after all, that's what I, support nonprofits with. That's one of the areas. I invested on my website to make it more of an integrative way of inviting people to explore and to have kind of a journey between the different sections and pages, and then a journey that comes back to purpose. So my idea was to ignite people desire and curiosity about unleashing their own purpose and what that could mean for them. In terms of this particular service, I do think there's an opportunity to really promote it as a core service. I have to figure out how. There's some low hanging fruit that I can do, and referrals are huge for me. Kind of like word of mouth. I have recently somebody shared a Facebook review, and that was super meaningful because it's in the client's own words, right? It's that experience in her lens, and the why it matters so much for her, that will allow me hopefully to then spread the word and bring at least a sense of curiosity for people to either learn more or wanting to explore what that could be like for them. So I'm in between. I'm open for ideas. I think this is certainly an incredible opportunity, and I cannot be more grateful for your support, because you're in a way coming along, the smaller businesses like me, because you believe that there's a lot of potential, and you have become almost that connecting point, that conduit to people to know, and for me to get the word out. So this is certainly something that I really appreciate, and obviously I'm looking forward to finding similar opportunities and things that I can do to promote my services, because I do believe honestly that there's a lot of things positively that can happen in an individual when that person decides to reflect, to take a step back, right? And to have an opportunity to go inward. I mean, I started our time together with that. And it's a very competitive world. It's a world that competes for our attention in every possible single way. Advertising, media, social media, activities, time management, responsibilities, roles, expectations. It's very complicated to really be able to even be in silence with yourself, to take a couple of minutes every day to listen to your heart, to listen to what's happening and boiling inside of you, instead of numbing it or ignoring it, or engaging in Netflix for days after days, or full weekends. So it's definitely something that I have seen in me, and is definitely something that I truly believe that nowadays we all need more of, to go inward, to find what's there, and the deeper that we go, then the higher we can go out into the world. But it's an inside job.
I love it. Well, you made me lean in a little bit. You've made me concentrate. You've made me actually think about, gosh, man, am I taking some inward time? Having recently been tested positive on COVID and quarantine in my house and stuff, and seeing my wife work her butt off with 3 girls and have to e-learn and all these things. Yeah, you're right. I mean, I think it's pretty interesting that you're breaking through consulting business adds this service, and then you really get so excited about it. It seems like you really kind of transformed yourself, and now you're ready to deliver to the world of what you could do. And it's really cool because even with the client base that you have, you're going to kind of invite some of these executives or this board of directors, or some of these managers, or even just regular just workers in the organizations, to really improve themselves, which is really cool. So, well, one of the things of doing a welcome back interview, it's, hey, we want to build a tribe, obviously, as they continue to see you, message you and learn more about breaking through consulting, and you personally, what can you say, maybe as just kind of the next steps that you're going to kind of go through, be either from like, when is the final date? Do you have a target date of completion for your master's? What are some other areas? And then we'll start to kind of put a bow on this interview for you.
Great. Yes. So, yeah. So in terms of timing, I'm just starting the master, so I'm in my third semester. So I have until 2022 to
Oh,
graduate. But very importantly, this semester for me is crucial because I am going through the process of being certified as a professional coach through the International Federation of Coaching Federation, ICF. And it's the top ranking organization that really understands what coaching should be in terms of, coming along people's, development, learning and growing. So there's a lot of things happening. There's a lot of writing, like I said before. There's a lot of, practice, sessions. There's a lot of feedback, supervision that I'm going through. So that's going to be happening in the next, 6 months. And hopefully, if that's completed and when I'm certified, then I'll be more legit, let's put it that way. And that will give me another set of core competencies that will only, allow me to present myself in a different way, in a professional way, in terms of like the coaching. So yeah, it's busy. It's busy.
I'd say you're legit already. So,
Oh, thank
even
you.
without certification. So I feel the energy. I love it. And I hope people are enjoying the interview. And, as we put it out there into the LinkedIn world and stuff, and we re-engage all those views that you had before. So look, Clara, I'm very thankful and I appreciate you saying the kind words. And, the Go for CEO channel, we really want to, again, reiterate to people that, hey, if you follow this channel, which I forgot to say at the beginning, but follow us, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment for Clara and what she shared with you about connecting to the inner self and reversing that mirror around and looking at yourself, right? And just really taking the time to do that is really powerful. So you never know when you welcome back that interview where someone's going to be at. And we are excited to have had you on. And 6 months to a year from now, we're going to do this again and keep on finding you in this journey of growing. So I'm excited to have you back. Any last final words that you want to share with the Go for CEO community?
Well, thank you again, John. I am beyond grateful for the opportunity to be here with you, for connecting in a way that hopefully will, be of inspiration and encouragement for, somebody watching. You never know how a word or how a sentence or how a compliment will lift somebody's, soul to think a little bit different about their day or about their circumstances. Definitely something that the world needs more of. Especially nowadays. I think, I'm going to tie it back to purpose because that's where I have a passion. And purpose can really change, someone's view of circumstances in the here and now. Purpose can move people to take risks, to say the unthinkable, to do the imaginable. Purpose is a force that really can make a huge change. And that purpose comes from within. And if you don't know what your purpose is, if you have not found it yet, there's always an opportunity to do it. It's never too late. It's never too late to hang on, to find it first, to understand why it matters so much, and to activate it, and to unleash it, and to tap into your God-given gifts and talents, and to propel you into new territory, into maybe it's the unknown, maybe it's the scary forest that you've never been. But I think, believing in yourself, believing in that purpose, and, going through with an open mind, with an open heart of, possibilities of how maybe in that journey, you're going to find out something new about yourself that you didn't before. Is how do we keep, a sense of awe and wonder for what's possible and for the incredible heights that we can reach if we allow ourselves to explore and to make mistakes and to move on and to follow our hearts, really. So it's an invitation to see life in a little bit of a different light.
I love it. Well, I do truly need to get some sound effects because that's basically a drop the mic moment right there. So awesome stuff, Clara. Thank you so much again for visiting and coming back to the Go for CEO channel. We will drop this interview very, very soon. And ladies and gentlemen, if you're listening on iTunes, if you're on Spotify, if you're on LinkedIn, if you're on YouTube, subscribe to the channel. These are the types of ladies and men that are just changing small to medium-sized business. They're doing some big things. We're talking about marketing, operations, scaling, and just understanding, even like what Clara said today, which is, looking inward and kind of imagine yourself just succeeding and breaking through and doing big things. So thank you again so much. And we look forward to seeing you in about 6 to 12 months, Clara.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, John. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.